Hey, good afternoon. It's Paul Rogers here. I'm a ranch in Ellensburg, Washington, with my horse Tonk. You can see he's a little muddy here today. And I had a little different horse. I was going to do a blanketing horse tip of the day, but my stirrups get pretty beat up starting colts. And I ride with these Nettles stirrups that are either stainless steel bound or brass bound. Anyhow, I want to do a little safety deal today on stirrups. Now, it just rained a bunch up here today, and I'm up here in the high desert, and so it gets pretty slick. And let's see if we can get old Tonk positioned here. He's hadn't been handled in a while. He's a little souped up today. So yeah, you can see the stirrup here. Maybe I'll try to get a little closer, but it's collapsed right down there. If your foot was in there, your foot would be in there for a while. And especially if a horse fell with you. That's what happened with him, is I had him tied to the high line and kicked the mares out, and he got to messing around because he's all snorted up and slipped and fell. And this stirrup was already cracked from some colts falling on it and stuff. But you can see if your foot was in there, the metal just, I pulled it out even a little bit before I decided to shoot a video on it, but the metal's just collapsed right down on your foot there. And horse fell on you and got back up, and you weren't with him when they got up, and your foot be stuck in there and you'd be getting drugged. And some of my other videos, you might have seen the McCarty rein that I ride with, and that's part of the reason. Not only can I put it's a solid rein, McCarty rein, plus a lead rope that you tuck in your belt, and that comes to the side of the snaffle here. And anyhow, when I step off to get gates or do anything, I just put my reins around my saddle horn so they're not getting their head down, and I got them tucked in my belt. My horse goes with me when I'm fixing fence or wherever, and it's a pretty handy little deal. But if a horse does happen to get away from you, bucks you off, falls with you, I ride with the real long McCarty rein. I ride with the 25 foot, so that my lead rope's pretty long. I got to take a couple tucks in here, but I don't mind, especially riding colts. You go to step off one to get a gate or whatever, and they get to squirreling around. You got plenty of lead rope there to not have them get away from you. So anyways, I'm always talking to people at clinics I do about safety, and one of them is the stirrups they ride. And the most important thing is the kind of shoes that you wear when you're riding. And I see people riding horses, you know. I'm trying to get a close-up of my stirrup here, but Tom's evidently scared of cameras. We'll have to desensitize him. And get a close-up of this stirrup here. I'm shooting this by myself, so I'm not sure how good this is going to show up on video here. I think you can get a good look at that stirrup there. That's all smashed in. But you'd rather look at the horse than me anyway. And so I'm a big advocate of leather-soled cowboy boots and or leather-soled riding boots for any kind of riding. Even English, you know, whatever type of riding boot you ride should have a slick leather sole, you know. And it doesn't take much of a hang-up in a stirrup when you're coming off there, especially when you're in the air and that stirrup hangs just a little bit, and it's going to frap you right down in your head. Or, you know, if you're coming off this direction, your stirrup hangs, it's going to suck you back in underneath that horse. So it's, you know, there's a whole deal on, you know, stirrup management and how to ride a stirrup with balance and not having your foot jammed all the way in there, but it's far enough in there you can balance. And practicing kicking your stirrups and hooking your stirrups with your boots. A lot of the cowboys and guys that ride colts, you know, work with oxbow stirrups. But riding oxbows is science in itself, in the fact that you need to, the old timers would soak their cowboy boots in the creek and then ride their oxbows, and then them leather-soled boots would conform to the shape where the oxbow was riding, so they had a kind of indentation in the leather sole of their boot. They trained them boots to hook them oxbows right there at their balance point. And then, you know, you practiced kicking your stirrups out to the edge of your toes and then hooking them back in and back and forth. And then if you ever get in a wreck with your oxbows, you always got to kick them stirrups before you bail out of there. Or as you're getting bucked off, kick your feet out of them stirrups so you don't hang a toe. And like I said, you might have a good landing choreographed there. You might have your landing all choreographed and you get in time as they're coming up and go ahead and step on out of there, because you know you ain't going to make it more than about another jump anyhow. And then that stirrup will hang your toe and you're just going to do a head plant. And I've been there and done that, as they say. And that's the biggest thing I see that's unsafe. And the biggest defense people have is, well, I've been riding with tennis shoes for years, I've never had a problem. Well, you only have to get hung up and drug once, and you won't have to worry about problems anymore, because you'll either be in a wheelchair or we'll be putting flowers on your tombstone. So I've seen a lot of people get in bad wrecks and then they get scared and they don't ride anymore. And so I hate to see that. You know, people will get in a wreck and it'll come near to killing them, and then they don't ride horses anymore. And a lot of that can be avoided, especially kids. You know, see parents letting their kids do a lot of things that are really unsafe. And they're like, well, I did that all the time when I was a kid, nothing ever happened to me. Well, that's fine, but just like poker, you know, the odds aren't in your favor. If you're around horses long enough, you know, if something's going to happen, you're going to get hurt seriously, even if it's just getting your foot stepped on, which is another deal of people wearing shoes around horses. You got a pair of sandals on in the summer and your horse steps on your foot on accident, and boom, you got a broken foot. And anyhow, I'll kind of wrap that up for today. And it's you know, like I say, it's just like driving. People never drive the way they should drive until they've been in an accident, you know, because with anti-lock brakes and traction control, people can just you know, drive like they normally drive on unsafe, slick roads. And then you see them in the ditch, and then next time you see them, they're driving a little more careful. It's the same thing with horses. Nobody really thinks about safety until they have a near-death experience. So anyhow, I'll wrap this up today, and appreciate you watching. Thank you.